Hi, this is Janvijay. In this lecture, we will learn basic Scala programming. To execute a Scala program on Scala IDE, we need few software installed on our system. Those software are JDK, Spark, and Scala IDE. How to install this software? If you haven't installed on your system, I have prepared a video for that with the title Apache Spark Scala Installation TikTok Ranvijay. So in this lecture you will able to install JDK, which is required for Scala programming, Spark framework, and Scala IDE. All the steps will be mentioned over here. Just go through the video and you will able to execute successfully. So I will show you where I have installed all those things. So JDK has been installed in C drive. Spark framework, you need to extract all the files from here. We will be requiring jars in our project. So you can see all the jars are present over here. After this, we will be needing a Scala IDE. For Scala IDE, we will be using Eclipse Scala. So that you can see over here. And after double tapping eclipse.exe, you will able to launch Scala IDE. So over here, we will create a new project. Go to File, New, Scala Project. Give the project name My First Scala. We will be running on JRE 1.8. Click Finish. You will able to see a new project has been created. You can see Scala library and JRE are here, but still we need Spark jar files. To import those, right click on the project properties. In Java build path, add external jars. Browse wherever you have installed your Spark. So I have installed inside F drive big data folder Spark. Inside Spark, go to jar folders and select all the files which will be required in our program. Open, apply and close. So you can see a new let the build part be prepared for our project. It's in progress. Give some more time. Now you're able to see a reference library has been added which contains all the jar files of Spark. Now we will create one Scala class or a Scala object. Right click on src folder, new, Scala class. Before creating a class, we will create a package. So in that package, we will be storing all our files. So let's cancel this one. Let's create a package first. New package. We will give the package name com.ranvijay.spark, and this package name is given as based upon the Java convention. You can see here Java package name is provided. This is because after compiling Scala, you will get a byte class object which is also provided by Java. So you can just ignore this thing, and this remains the same Java package you can see, but ignore this one. It's the Scala package. Finish. You can see a folder. His package name has been created. Inside the package, we will create a class, a Scala class. Make a note, we will not be creating a class, we will be creating a Scala object. click Scala object. Give some name like my first Scala or hello Ranvijay. Hello Ranvijay is the name of the object and finish. Give some time, it will build the workspace. Now you can see a object class has been defined over here. We need a main class. We need a main method. To define a method, keyword def is required or define. You can say main. We need the argument args of type array. Syntax is little bit different, so make a note of this thing. So the first comes the name of the parameter, that you can see args, and it's of the type array, which is of a string. So this is a little bit different, so you can go through this, and let's display some line. Print ln is the keyword, so which you can display. Hello Ranvijay. Now save this, and to execute we need to build some run configuration. Right click, run as, run configuration. A pop-up should come. In this we need to give any name for this configuration. Let's say hello Ranvijay. The project is my first Scala. Let's browse my first Scala, and we need to find our main class. Main class can be found through com.ranvijay.spark, but the name of object is hello Ranvijay, so we need to change this one, hello Ranvijay. So this name you can provide anything. This is the name of the project which is provided over here, my first Scala, and this is the object from where you can find your main class. So that has been defined. Main is defined inside the hello Ranvijay, which was under the package com.ranvijay.spark, that you can make a note of. Now let's apply and run. You can see launching hello Ranvijay, and you can see hello Ranvijay is defined over here. So let's jump into few of the variable declaration in Scala. So I have already done few programs. I will just copy paste from there. So it will save us some time to just write. So variable declaration, let's copy this block. I will explain you one by one what I have done over here. Let's comment or delete this line. Paste. So variable declaration, how can we declare a variable in our Scala program? So variable can be declared with the help of two keywords, either go with the var or go with the val. The basic difference between these two kind of declaration is that one is reassignable, another is not reassignable. Let's keep it as aside. We can explain it later. Now let's define the variable with both the keywords, with the var and with the var. So first variable is the name, which is of type string, and we have assigned some value Ranvijay, and another is var last name of the type string, and we have assigned the value Rana. Let's display it. So to display we have few different flavors how can we display. So one thing you can do, println, give the codes whatever you want to print as it is, just write those things inside the quotation, just like any other programming language. Then plus for concatenation, name will be fetched from here, the same whatever the value that will be fetched over here. Then again we need one extra space, then concatenation, then we will fetch the last name value to a scalar. And another way is like this one. Inside the quotation we need to provide dollar sign precede double sign followed by the name of the variable, which is name, and dollar sign variable name, last name. Or another way you can do by the substitution, by giving s in front of before the quotes, and just like dollar name and dollar last name, like this you can go. Let's run it. Save this file, run as. We have already configured. Let's see, hello run Vijay is over here. So you can see, and we have defined the 4 different type of steps how you can display any variables. So like this, any line you can follow, it's the same thing you will get at the end. uh, Over here you can see, just like dollar name and dollar last name doesn't work without the help of substitution keyword over here. So if you don't provide s over here, it will be just printed as dollar name and dollar last name. No substitution has been done over here. So if you want to substitute some variable, then you need to provide dollar, or go with the fourth step or third step, anything you like. Now coming back to the reassignment that I was talking about. So as I was saying, if you are defining a variable with the keyword var, which was name, so it can be reassignable. You can see over here, if I uncomment this line, this is allowed. Name, we are able to reassign to Sam, but last name Winchester, that we are not able to assign. See, you will see a error message over here, which is saying reassignment to var is not allowed. So if you are defining a variable with the keyword var, it is a immutable type, so you will not able to reassign. But Scala recommend us to use var as many times as possible. uh, if you don't want to reassign that variable any another value. So this was variable declaration section. Let's comment it out and let's move further. What do we have ahead? Variable type inference. So let me explain this more clearly. So what is variable inference? Let's comment all these lines. Variable type inference. So let's create a variable number and also assign the value 5. This time you can see we are not giving any data type. What type of data is the number? And let's print. You can see Scala itself recognizes the value 5 is of type integer. So number is 5. You can see itself it is recognizing variable number is of type int. If you change this value 5 to a string, run Vijay. Now see, number is of type string. So this is called variable type inference. Which means variable knows what type of data you are providing to the variable. So that's all for the type inference. You don't need to provide what type of data is this. Means you don't need to give this colon string. What type of data is this one. Just like this, it's okay. Save this and execute. You can see type of data is being recognized. Number is Ranvijay as we have changed this thing. Let's move ahead. We have next in line statically typed. What does statically typed means? See, we have defined, let's copy this. We don't need anyhow, but just go. Okay. What does statically type means? Once you have defined what type of data is inside that variable, you will not able to change its type. Let's uncomment this one. See, you are defining how number of as a type of string. Let's change this as a number or integer. So you can see error is coming, type mismatch found, because number was of type string, but here you are providing as an integer, so which is not allowed. So this is called statically typed, which means once you have defined the type of variable, you will not able to reassign another type of data to that variable. So that's all inside statically typed. After this, we have data type. In Scala, it provides data type of byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, and character. Let's copy this bunch of code and I will explain one by one. Let's comment all the previous codes we have done. Now save it. So let's jump to the data type. So data type, first one is byte. So byte is 8-bit signed value which ranges from minus 2 raised to power 7 to 2 raised to power 7 minus 1. It's the range of its value. So like this you can define a variable var keyword and the name of the variable, then what type of data. So we are considering as byte right now, and then we are assigning value 1 to this one, and we are printing the same byte number over here in this line. My byte number is we are using the substitution way of displaying any statement. So s is prefixing the quotation, and we are giving dollar byte number sign. Same we have done with the sort. So sort, we have declared the variable name and the type with the colon sort, and we have given the value 123. So sort is 16-bit signed value which ranges from negative 2 raised to power 15 to positive 2 raised to power 15 minus 1. And we have displayed this sort number in the next line. My sort number is dollar sort number, and this substitution where we have applied with the keyword is. Another thing is integer. So make sure all these are in the capital letter: byte, short, int, long, float, boolean, character, string. All these are in the capital letter first keyword. So int has been also defined. We have defined the variable name, then int, and assigned some value. So it is of 32-bit signed value ranging from minus 2 raised to power 31 to positive 2 raised to power 31 minus 1. And you can, we have displayed the number over here. And another way of formatting this one is, uh, let's comment all the line and let's go one by one. Let's run till this point. So one way is the substitution, one way is the formatting. So let's see what this does exactly, and we will explain later. Let the workspace build. So you can see byte number, as we were expecting, 1 is displayed over here, short number 123 is being displayed over here, and my integer 57, which we have defined, is displaying over here. The new thing over here is the formatting one. So if you want to format how you want to display a number, so we want to display the number preceding with the 0. So we wanted total length should be 4, and if the value is not present, then give replace those position with 0. That we are seeing over here, the total length is 4 and the preceding value of this number are 0, and this d you need to provide because this is an integer. So for integer we have d assigned. So wherever you are giving $int number, it should be followed by percentage, what you want to precede it with, and the length total, and d for integer. So that's all this line is saying over here, and the effect you can observe over here. Now another type of data is long. So long is, again, it's the same, means all these four, all the four category are of the type number only. So it depends how big the value of your number is. So based upon that you need to select either you want to go with the byte or short or the int or the long. So long, you can see it is of 64 bytes. So it the value ranges from negative 2 raised to power 63 to positive 2 raised to power 63 minus 1. So it's a very big number. So if you want, if you have a number which is of very big size, then go with the long. So it all depends what's the size of your number or value. So based upon this you can go ahead. Another type is the float, so that you can observe over here. So float, if whenever you are defining declaring the value, so follow the value with the keyword if. So this will say this number is a float type. So again the declaration is the same way, give the variable name and the type is float, and like this. Again we have displayed the number, my float number is dollar sign and float number, and we have formatted. In case of integer it was percentage, what we want to precede it with, and the length, and the um, character d. But with respect to float, it's the precision, how many digit you want in the precision. So that is percentage, decimal. So we want four precision value, and followed by f. So we have defined in decimal very big number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So but we want precision only till point 4. So let's run it. So you can see in precision 1 2 3 4 5 is displayed, but we have defined 1 2 3 4. So it's like a rounding off. So the value has been rounded off over here, and the precision 4 is followed over here. Now another data type is 16 double. So the difference between double and float is the same as difference between long and int. It's just if you have a data of big size, then go with the double, else go with the float value. So it's the same again, and declare the variable name of the type double, then assign some value, and again the displaying followed the same pattern. Then we have another data type, boolean. Boolean have only two value, either it can be true or either it can be false. So I have declared a variable my boolean of type boolean, and also assigned a value true. So it can either contain true or false. So it doesn't have any other value, either go with true or either go with the false. And again display, we have displayed the some value of boolean over here. Then we have character. So character is anything you see on your keyboard. That's a character. So from A to G or from 1 to 0 to 9, these are the characters, or any symbol like at the rate, has dollar sign, percentage. These are the characters. Anything you see on your keyboard. So those are the characters. So characters basically defined by ASCII, and say, mm, let me show you. So ASCII table has been defined for different character values. So you can see decimal, hexa, octa, and corresponding value. So if you are giving null, so null is corresponding to 0. Similarly, different values has been defined over here. So you can see for ABC, capital A corresponds to 65 over here, and this goes from A to Z till 90. Then comes a small letter from 97 to 122. So you can refer this table based upon what character you want to use in your program. So based upon your requirement, you can refer the ASCII table and go ahead. So over here, I am trying to assign the value my cat value is 70. So let's see what this line is displaying to us. So over here we have given display my char value is dollar my char. Let's say it's capital F. So we haven't defined capital F over here. We have given the value 70. So we need to refer the ASCII table what 70 corresponds to. So 70, you can see 70 is corresponding to capital F. Decimal 70 is corresponding to character F in caps. So that you are seeing over here. So same way you can refer the ASCII table and go ahead, use whatever the character you want in your program. So another data type is a string. So a string is a group of characters. So you can see I have defined a variable mystring of type string and assigned the value this is Ranvijay and displayed that very same statement. Let's execute this one. You can see my string is this is Ranvijay. The same we wanted to display it over here. My string is, and we are substituting the value uh, as we have also given the s in substitution. So like this we will be able to see the substitution. That's all for this lecture. So in this lecture, to summarize what we have covered out, so we have covered out declaration of variable with the help of keyword var and var, display the value of variable by different methods like substitution or by concatenating, and what not to do to display a statement. And this was the line which we are like this, it will not display the exact value of the variable. Then we went through variable type inference, which means that you don't need to provide the data type of the data type of the variable. Scalar will automatically recognize what kind of data type is that. And then we have gone through statically typed, which means once you define the type of variable, you will not able to reassign the type of the variable. So if the variable is of a string, then you will not able to change it to number. So that's all in statically typed says. Then we gone through data types. So data type are of these types: byte, short, int, long, float. double, boolean, and character. So byte, short, int, and long are of the type integer value. So based upon the size, you need to select any one of those. Another one is decimal type value, float or double. So based upon your value, you need to, if it is a smaller value, go with the float. If it is a bigger value, go with the double. Then comes boolean. Boolean is for either you have true or false. It contains only two type of data. Then comes character. So character, if you want to get any specific character, refer the ASCII table. For a space 32 is assigned, and similarly, so many character value has been assigned over here. Just based upon your requirement, just refer the table, and you will able to proceed further. The next data type we have covered is the string. So a string is bunch of characters grouped together. So in this example we have given this is Ranvijay. So it contains all the characters which has been provided in the ASCII table. Mm, so that's all for this lecture. Let's meet back in another lecture to continue further. In next lecture we will cover loop construct in Scala programming and array, and we will also cover few examples. Mm, so this was all. Please provide your feedback in the comment section so that I can improve myself and deliver you more interesting video. And to support my channel, please do like, share and subscribe. This is Sanjay signing off. Thank you.